Hey, welcome, Bertha. How are you?
I am doing great, Richard. Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here with you today, so I'm super excited. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm excited to have you. You made my top 10 list because I haven't even this is I'm almost at 10 podcasts, I think. I've had anywhere from Min Nguyen, I've had Tristan, I've had a few top sales managers. So I'm excited to have you on. Actually, you're the my first female guest.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm honored then. I'm honored to be the first female on this podcast. And
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
excited to be here. I can't tell you how excited I am. I just love spending time with you. You have such a great energy. So I'm always enjoy talking to you. So I am
Very
ready.
awesome. Well, let's get it started. I know that you are absolutely crushing it in the lending business. You've been a lender since 2007. Right now you're with Pacific Lending. So I guess let's start there. Have you been a lender since high school, or how did you get into lending?
I wish, right? No, no, no. I started in the lending business in 2007. Prior to that, I used to work in the manufacturing business. I was a purchasing manager. Prior to that, I did some sales. So I've been in the customer service business forever. I love people. I love customers, dealing with people. That's my type of thing. And I got into the lending after I discovered that there's so much need in our community. There's so many people that need to be explained what the process looks like, why do they need to do this and that. So I got into it interested enough because I felt the need when I bought my first home. I felt like I did not know what I was doing through the whole process. So always in the back of my head, I knew I wanted to do something with real estate. And when the opportunity came, I just went with it. And I'm like, this is amazing. I love helping people. So this is gonna be a good career for me.
Yeah, and you know what's great that I just heard? You said that you saw a need, and you knew that what entrepreneurs do is they always feel that need. Like there's always gaps in different businesses, and because you saw, man, I went through the loan process and I really didn't know anything. So you're like, hey, maybe I can actually fill that void, and that's literally what entrepreneurs do. We go in and educate our clients, and we fix a problem maybe they knew they had, or maybe they don't even know they had. So.
That's so true. Yeah. So when we bought our first home, I just kept being asked for stuff, but I was never explaining the process. So you need to bring me this, bring me that, bring me that, and I was never felt like I knew what was going on. So for me, it's so important that our clients understand the process and what is it that they're doing, what they're doing. So as they're asking for things, they know why we need them. So that's the biggest part of our business, at least for me.
I love that. I love that. Did you ever think, you know what? I don't understand the car process. Maybe I should be a car salesman.
No, the funny thing, I never. Well, I'm gonna tell you a story, and not that many
Okay.
people know. But I worked in the car sales business for 1 week.
What?
You made me remind me that. So long story short, I had a friend who had a dealership, and he's like, "You have such a great personality. Why don't you come and help me?" So I decided to go in for a week, and it was used cars. So I sold 2 cars in a week. He was like completely happy, like, "You're gonna do amazing." I did not like the process, and that's for me. I have to truly believe in what I'm doing. So I sold 2 cars in a week. He said people usually take him a month to sell 2 cars. You did it in a week, so you do amazing. I didn't like the process in terms of financing side, where people came in and they didn't have the best credit, they didn't have the best scenarios, so they ended up with a really bad loans. And I told myself, if I don't feel comfortable with this, I will not be able to sell this. So I got out. I lasted a week and I said, this is not for me, thank you, I'm out.
Yeah, that's very noble of you because you know what? I did alarm sales actually. I did home alarm sales, and I don't think a
Wow.
lot of people know this, but I didn't feel comfortable with the script that I was learning. I like now as a homeowner, like now I've been, in the real estate industry for quite a while. I understand it. Like I understand why home security is so important. But back then I didn't like the script that was being used. I was like, this doesn't make sense. I didn't feel comfortable, so it didn't last very long. But it made sense, and we did make sales.
Yeah, no, and I always thought to myself, if I'm going to do something, I have to believe on it, and it has to be something that resonates with me. So if I wouldn't do it for someone, I wouldn't want nobody to do it to myself. So even when I meet with customers, believe it or not, I will say, I'm going to go through the process. We're going to look at the different options, and I might recommend a loan that I will do for myself. So if it was me, what would I do? And
Mhm.
that's the way I treat my business all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that philosophy, and that's a great way to build a business because at the end of the day, we're not. I mean, some people are. They're trying to be transactional. They're trying to do one deal. But if you believe in your product and you give great service, you're going to get referrals. You're going to get referrals, and you're going to build a great business. But if it's always about just that one deal or just that next deal, it's really hard to make a living off that.
Absolutely. And in our business, I feel like that's the way I had been able to build my business. It's always been mostly referral based. So I would always say you're gonna refer me to your friends and family if you like the experience you had working with us. So that's the whole purpose of making sure they understand, making sure they know what's going on through the process. So if they had a good experience, they want to tell their friends and family that to have the same experience.
Mhm. Yeah, very cool. So is your process very like systematized? Like is a process like how do you have it? You know, is everything checklist or how do you make sure that you're giving great service and everyone loves your company or yourself, right?
Well, myself, I always said at the end you sell yourself, right? As an agent, you can work for, I always said, different companies, but at the end, people are gonna do business because of you. People are gonna buy because of Richard. So I always make sure that they understand, the process, and we're selling service, yes, but at the end, it's me, the face of the business. So I do have a system in place. We do have checklists for loans. It's definitely very systematic. We have to have, the application, bank statements, W-2s, all the stuff have to be in the file in order for the file to be complete. The process obviously is always come in first interview. It's getting to know the client, getting to know where they are, whether they're ready today or they need to work on credit. They need to wait for the 2 years for self-employed, or they have to wait for the gap of employment to be 2 years. So I always tell my clients, I will never say no. I will say not today, but if you do this, this, and this, you'll be ready to buy a house in X amount of time. 3 months, 6 months, whatever that time might be. So there is definitely a system in place that we have to follow.
Yeah. I love that philosophy that you just said. You said that it's never no, it's just not right now. And too many entrepreneurs, realtors, lenders, um, I see it too far, which is great that I see it. It's great for us as being colleagues and competition, is that they say no. So we know that, hey, it's not right now. As long as I keep a relationship, give you a game plan, provide you a roadmap, I'm going to be doing business with you down the road. And that's one of the reasons I do like working with buyers, and I have a lot of agents that I send my buyers to. It's like, dude, if I can set up roadmaps and game plans for all these buyers, and I know that down the road they're going to work with me. So I love it. There's nothing better than handing keys to, like, it's
Oh my
great.
God.
I love the list side, but handing keys to a first time home buyer or second time buyer, there's nothing like it. It's
It's
a
priceless. It is priceless. I don't get to get that feeling that you guys do because I always do the loan. So we just get funded. You guys ready to get your keys. But
yeah,
it's amazing to just be a part of that family's dream of having that house, especially first time home buyers, like you said. And I always tell my listing agents or my buyer's agent, I say, remember, they will be your sellers. 3, 4, 5 years down the line, they will be your sellers. So again, as long as we do a great job of creating that experience and building that relationship, we know they're eventually going to continue to come back to you.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and especially the ones that if we provide them books like the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, like if we provide them materials like, hey, listen, like this is just your first home. In 2, 3, 4, 5 years, let's get you your second one, and then let's actually put together a 20-year plan, and maybe you'll have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses. So that way you can start handing them off to your kids, college paid for, and yeah, now you have a roadmap of how to retire outside of SSI, disability, things like that. No, you actually are creating actual financial freedom and freedom for your family.
Oh my God, I love that. So you do that with your clients because that's what I do. I always tell them this is gonna be your first home, and I put it on their head. I'm planting this seed. This is gonna be your first home. It's not gonna be your forever home because you're again necessities will change, family dynamics will change. You eventually want to move into the bigger, the nicer home, but this is where you can start today. And I talk about a lot about investing and planning for the future and having a few properties down the line that they can again pay off for college or just being able to retire with more income because Social Security is definitely not going to be enough, and it's not going to be sufficient to be able to have the lifestyle that you have when you're working. I always say when you retire, you make less money, so make sure you prepare yourself with additional income coming through to be able to retire and have
Yeah,
a
you know what's sad?
amazing that you do the same. It's so funny.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, cool, of course. I think all top agents, top lenders, like we try to. I get it. You want to go get one listing, you want to go get sale. But if you treat your clients like friends or family and you really nurture that relationship, they're going to turn into invest. Like I have one woman who she was actually my second client ever. She's bought 5 houses from me.
Beautiful.
5 in 6 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's because she keeps buying from me. I've never listed any of her homes, right? Had I only been narrow-minded and I only want to do listings, then I would lose this opportunity because all I'm thinking about is, okay, I just want to list your home. Well, no, if I help you create financial freedom, you're going to keep coming back to me and you're going to tell your friends, hey, dude, I have over $1 million in my portfolio because this realtor taught me.
Right.
Imagine, like, and then this is a scenario I like to give out, which I'm not at that place yet, but eventually I will be. What if you had 100 buyers and all of them were investors? You wouldn't have to go look for any business ever because
No,
you already have your book of business. You know that every single year, maybe 20 or 30% of them is going to buy a home every year and you're good.
exactly. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. Absolutely. That's a great plan.
So you see what I mean? And that's something that not everybody thinks about.
Right.
Something I wanted to talk about actually on kind of related to what you were saying about making sure that we have retirement is something that's sad, which I didn't realize it until I got into real estate, was like older people, right? There's a lot of older people who when they go to retire, um, they retire at a certain payment, like they make a certain amount and their payment for all their bills is a set amount, right? They're on a fixed income and fixed bills. However, with inflation, those bills go up. And eventually they get kicked out of whatever they're set on, whether it's a home, retirement home. These bills get too high and now they have to relocate. And some
Right.
of them don't have family or they don't have plans in place for them to move somewhere. And
Mhm.
it's just like, man, that's very scary. You know, I don't know. Are you seeing that at all?
I have. I always, I have so many stories, but one of the ones that really got to me, it's a lady that I did a refi about 10 years ago. 5 years ago, husband passed away, and I knew they were getting the two social securities, right? When the husband passed away, then she only got to one, and her payment was at that time like $1,400. Her social security was $1,300. She was short about 100 and some just to cover the payment.
Wow.
And like you said, no family, nobody to help her. So she was the perfect scenario for what we do as a reverse mortgage. Somebody who has enough equity in their house that they can still live in the house, do a reverse mortgage where they don't have to make a mortgage payment and they get to enjoy their house until they pass. So again, I know how it is. And that was one of the stories that always gets to me. And that's the one thing I always tell my clients, prepare because you never know. We don't think about it right now, but eventually it's going to happen where you're going to retire. And if you don't have a plan, you're gonna have to end up having to go to live with the family, or like in this case, having to move out and relocate and find where to go because you can no longer afford the house that you have.
Yeah.
So reverse mortgages are amazing because it gives those the elderly the opportunity to stay in their homes if they have enough equity without having to make a mortgage payment and still enjoy their house. So that's a great program for a retiree.
Is there any like, what's the qualifications for reverse mortgage? Is there any special, like, do they have
Yeah,
to
well,
earn it?
mainly the age. They have to be at least 62 years of age, and then the property that they have must have enough equity for the bank to allow them to stay without making payments. So it's an FHA type of loan, but it is called reverse mortgage.
So for
Beautiful, beautiful
example,
product. Beautiful product for the people that retire and they don't have enough income coming in anymore.
got you. So let's just say, I don't know, someone buys a home when they're 30 and the home's worth 400,000. Let's just say by the time they're 60, you said 2 or 60?
62. They have to be 60.
62. Let's say by time they're 62, the home's paid off. Now the home is worth, I don't know, let's say, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be 800, $900,000 by then, probably more.
Mhm.
Just with the 4 to 5% appreciation we see year over year. So let's just say they have a paid off home, it's worth $900,000. That's the only home they ever bought. Um, they can use a reverse mortgage then?
They can use reverse mortgage, but they have it paid off. Typically, they wouldn't need. Typically, the reverse mortgage for those that have a loan and they still have a payment and they're not able to continue to make those payments. So we
Mm,
use the equity of the property for them to stay without making a payment and obviously have the opportunity to enjoy their home. So what happens basically is they're not going to make a payment, so the balance of the loan is going to continue to go up because they're no longer making payments.
Okay.
Or even people buy with this. So let's say someone decides to, they have a 2-story home, they want a 1-story home, they have enough equity, and they want to buy with a reverse mortgage. They can, if as long as they put a good amount of down payment, they can buy with a reverse mortgage and don't have to make a mortgage payment.
Got you. And how long is that good for? Is that like a 30-year fix or 40
It's
years?
it's it's typically it's a 30-year amortized loan, obviously, but they typically make it based on the age of the person, the equity that they have, and they give you, for example, this lady that I did, they give him up to 98 years old, so that she can live in the house until she's 98 years old, and she'll be fine.
Yeah,
So
it should be fine. So with the reverse mortgage, it only covers just the mortgage itself? What if there's an HOA or anything like that?
yeah, just the mortgage. So they're still responsible for their insurance, for the property taxes, and HOAs. But typically, by the time we get to that point, is like if they have a mortgage payment, like my client of $1,500, they can afford the taxes and the insurance if they don't have to make the $1,500 monthly. So
Yeah, because we have
it
the
always works out for them. But it's an amazing opportunity for the people that again in that situation. And I love to talk about it because I don't think not enough people talk about it. Like we don't hear this program being talked about all the time. We always hear about FHA, buy, refinance, do this now. But that's an amazing product for our retiree individuals out there that they have a house and sometimes they're struggling with their payment and they don't know that they have this opportunity.
yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. And let me ask you, can you do a reverse mortgage if you're a renter?
Well, no.
Well, yeah, that was the point I was trying
Absolutely not. You have to own a home.
Yep, you gotta own a home, right? And so that's just another thing, right? And that's what we want to preach is if you don't own a home, you don't have access to reverse mortgage. You don't have so there's a few different things. You don't have access to reverse mortgage, you don't have access to appreciation, you don't have access to equity. So
Right.
you're missing out on a lot of different things, right? And you know what you do have access to? You have access to inflation, I'll tell you that. Because if you don't
Awesome.
own a home, you get affected by inflation even more.
Always, always.
So that's why you definitely want to have a paid off home at least by, or at least close to it, somewhere in early 60s at the latest. So that way you you can have access to reverse mortgage and other programs like that. So I think that's just an eye opener. A lot of people don't think about this. They're like, oh well, I'll buy it when I'm 40 or 50 or 60. It's like, no, hold on. Like you need to just start at 30. Even start in 20, so it'd be greater.
You
But
should. You should start as early as you can possibly do it. I have my most youngest first time home buyer. He was 22 years old, and I was so happy. I'm like, this is amazing. 22 years old buying your first home. That's amazing. I got
wow.
my first at 27. So I know some people wait until different ages, but the sooner you can start again, the sooner you'll be able to start building that equity and that opportunity of owning again more properties in the future.
I was very close to your age as well when I bought my first home. And also, you know what? My youngest client was 19.
Wow, that's
He
amazing. Younger
sold
than
by
mine.
20. Yeah, he bought pre-COVID. I believe it was pre-COVID. Or it was during COVID. I think it was pre-COVID though. And then he sold mid-COVID.
Wow, and I'm sure he
Yeah,
did amazing, right? With
he
with
did
the
amazing. Yes,
equity.
yes. Believe it or not, in Vegas, there was a condo, and it was like 112,000. I think it was $112,500. It was a one-bedroom condo, and we ended up selling it for like 160, I think.
Wow, see, that's amazing.
I
That
know.
proves right there that real estate is one of the best investments that you can make short term and even better in the long term, obviously.
Yeah. So that is one of my success stories. Yeah, and I've actually had another client who was, I think he was 20. Yeah, he was doing 20 or 21. So I've had some pretty young clients here in Vegas, which is very exciting. That being said, I want to flip into, and I asked Min this as well.
Okay.
What? Yeah, I asked him. So no pressure.
No pressure. Now see what am I gonna say?
So if you were advising a new realtor, right? Maybe a less experienced realtor, what stats do you think they should follow for so that they understand the basics of the market, like so that they can explain to a consumer, hey, this is where the market's at. Should they follow CPI, inflation, supply and demand? Like what stats do you think they should follow?
Interesting. Well, for me, I always feel like at that, my question or my response to people when they're asking me, should I buy now? Should I wait? Should I this? I said, you have to buy when you're ready. You know, everybody's in different stages of their lives, inflation, economy, rates, market. I mean, there's so many variables out there, and you cannot follow that and wait until the right time, because the time that is the right time to buy, you might not be able to qualify to buy. So I say you buy when you can qualify, you buy when you can afford, and do it the sooner that you're able to. So don't wait for the perfect timing. Don't wait for that perfect market. Do it when you're able to afford that payment, when you're able to qualify for the house, and act now. Don't wait.
Yeah. At my old company, Gary Keller was the CEO of Keller Williams, and he talked about this all the time. He said, don't wait to buy and wait. So
There
if
you go.
you waited and it's crazy because I remember telling my friends clearly 5, 6, 7 years ago to buy a home, and some of them still haven't, right? And it's like, dude, what's going on now, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm waiting for this. Well, in every market, there's an excuse. Okay, right now I'm waiting for rates to come down. Oh, well, right now I'm waiting for the home prices to come down. Oh, well, right now I'm waiting for a new president. And there's always an excuse for why they don't want to buy today. Oh, well, what if my AC goes out?
There
Well,
you go. And you
yeah.
know what? I heard this from one of my coaches, and it really resonated with me because it applies to every aspect in our lives. Like, and he asked us, we were in a setting of a mastermind. He goes, okay, so you're gonna wait to buy a house at the right time, or you're gonna wait for to make the move when it's the right time. He goes, let me ask you, when was the last time in your life that everything was perfect, that you had everything in the right place? And we all got like, never. I mean, when was the last time you had everything perfect in your life? Never. So what do? You just make the decision. You move and you adjust and you adapt and you just keep moving forward. Don't wait for the right time. Like you said, don't wait to buy. Wait, buy and wait.
Buy and wait. That's
Right.
right.
Just do it. Just
Yeah.
do it. The sooner you do it, you'll get into it. I know at the beginning, most first time home buyers, they get a little stressed with their payments. I'm like, once you get used to making that new payment, you'll be fine.
Yep, you'll definitely be fine. And I watched a video from Victor the other day, Victor out of Austin. He
Uh-huh.
talked about, because now he travels the freaking world like every week. I feel like right now he's in Mexico for an event. But it's like, why is this possible though? It's because every year he just decided to buy a home. Because what do we know? Rents always go up. And
Always.
they always go up. And if you buy a house, you can always refinance. And you can always just put a renter in place. Just get your 6-month window, get your 6-month savings account for rental income for any emergency or anything. Just get a nice spread. So that way anything goes wrong, you have your spread there. That being said, the snowball takes a while to build up. But if you start now, right? Let's say you get one this year, one next year, and then you get one the next year, then in 5, 10, 15 years, you're like, oh shit,
You're
I have,
done.
I have 10, 15 homes already.
Yeah.
And you've already been accumulating rental payments, appreciation, equity going up from all these homes. And now it's like I can trade some of the smaller ones, maybe take them from one neighborhood to a better neighborhood. But there's so many things you can do versus just waiting 10, 15 years to just do one. There's no perfect time. There's literally no perfect time. And what's one of the best? I just learned this from Leo, and or it was Leo or Casey, one of them. We were talking about this, and this is something that I do is a lot of times I'll just take action, and then I'll grow through the chaos. It's like a lot of times you don't know what's going to go wrong until you do it. There's so many coaches and theorists are like, oh well, this and that, right? They're just kind of forecasting what they think is going to
Trying to
happen.
predict what's gonna happen,
Yeah,
right?
they're trying to predict it. But if you actually just go out and do the action, and that way you're going to know what's going wrong, and you can go put a process or system in place for that. But you can't put processes and systems for chaos that you don't know that's going to happen because you've never done the work. So
Absolutely.
same thing here with rentals, right? So as a as buyers here in the United States, we have something that's called the 30-year fix,
Yes.
right? I had a at my old brokerage, I had a Steve, Australian guy. He was one of the owners. Dude, he had like I think 50 rentals or so or something, but it's because he knew the power of the 30-year fix and he leveraged the heck out of it.
There you go. Well, you
So
said it, and it's very interesting because we all want, the financial freedom, but a lot of times we're not willing to take the action. So for me, one of my theories is always get in it, get it done, and if you don't know how, you'll figure it out. Because once you're in there, like you said, you will find a way to make it work. And that's the biggest thing. I think action is so important that we learn how to take action and do not hold back, do not think too much about it, because the more you think about it, the less action you take. So
yep.
for me, it's always get in. I'm sure once we're in there, and I told this to my girls in the office, Bertha, we're gonna do this. I'm like, how are we talking about? We'll figure it out. Like, don't worry. Once we're in, we'll figure it out. We will make it work. We will find ways to get it done.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite quotes. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. And you know what? You can't make adjustments in a game that you don't play, right? You can't
Exactly.
make adjustments
Exactly.
in a game you don't play. So you got to play the game.
You do.
So very cool, very cool. As a, what would you say is the reason why you're successful right now? Is it the habits you've built up? Is there accountability in place, coaching? Like, why are you successful right now?
I have to give it out to, I think, three. I think mainly, obviously, coaching is important because it helps you find the little areas that you might be able to see when you're in. I always say when you're in the box, you can only see the walls, but someone from the outside can see the little corners and areas that you might not be able to see because you're too busy looking at the box around you. So
Mhm.
coaching is very important because it does help you find maybe ways to or things that you might not be able to see. Second of all, it's accountability. You do need to have a group around you, a tribe that can help you stay focused and stay doing what you need to do. And the last one for me is mindset. You need to really believe in yourself that you can get that accomplished. And once we get those three things, anything comes your way, you'll figure it out, you'll work through it, you'll overcome it, whatever it is that comes your way. Market shifts and all of this. Miss Marilu and I were talking the other day. I'm like, you know what, we're gonna make it through. This is gonna be no different than what it was 2008, and it's definitely not what 2008 was like. So we're gonna be okay. We just need to keep focused, keep working on it, and keep applying what we already know. And I mean,
Yeah,
you've seen it. You've done amazing. So I'm like, you know what? It's just a matter of putting in our head. This is what it needs to happen, and we're gonna make it happen.
yeah,
But having the people around you to keep you accountable, it's a huge piece. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't have the group that I have around me to keep me accountable.
I think that's a great way to put it. I think everything you said there was money. Um, for so you have a coach,
I do have two coaches right now.
okay? And what do they do?
Well, one is for business, and the other one is more into the health, the spiritual, and all that other
Nice.
aspect. Because I think there's two sides of ourselves. We need to be able to be mindset ready with our business, having the skills, practicing, doing all the things that are going to allow you to continue to be effective in your business. And then you also need the balance of having that health, having that vision, having that spiritual side of you being able to be grounded and know where you're going and know what you're doing, what you're doing. So it's important. So I have two.
Who are you using for the health? Is it still Danny or did you switch?
I still use Danny, but I'm actually switching to something else too that I've been trying out, and it really seems like it's working. So
Yeah.
I have,
Are
I
you
have
gonna go to Annabelle and Horror or where you at?
no, no, no. I'm something completely different, but again, close to what they do.
Very cool. Very cool. That's exciting stuff. I think
Super.
that it all starts in your heart and in your mind and in your head. And that just that allows you to go farther in business. Because I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to say, like, I've been a victim to having a governor in my business. And what I mean by having a governor in my business is, man, I'll be doing super well and I'll self-sabotage myself. I'm like, all right, you're doing good, you can relax, you know? And if your mindset isn't right, then it's really hard to get past it. It's like, all right, well, you know what? We're at 7 deals. Now we're good. We're gonna stop right now.
Well, I learn and this through coaching and mindset, but if your
Yeah.
goals don't scare you, then they're not big enough. You need to change
Mhm.
them.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
goals
change it.
are not big enough, you need to change them because otherwise you're selling yourself too short. You're not playing big.
You
So
have to
your
be
goals
big.
have to be so big they will scare you. Like, oh, shoot, how am I gonna get that? And you get that motivation to get moving, to get going.
Yeah, it has to be something that's gonna wake you up out of your sleep, no alarm clock, and just, hey, let's go. It's time to go. Let's go get this, you know? And it has to be, I feel like it really has to be connected to something that you really, really care about. And if,
Passionate about. You have to, and that's for me. Like I love helping people, so I don't see myself doing anything else than what I'm doing, and I have the passion to help more families and also loan officers. So now I'm taking the role of doing a lot more coaching and helping other loan officers to see the potential, because I feel like a lot of times in our business, and that was the whole purpose of my event that I did a week ago, and Min was part of it.
yeah,
Is I feel like our community is lacks of that sense of, we're here to help each other. We're not here, I'm not going to steal your clients. You have business, I have business. There's business for everybody who's willing to do the work. So my goal is to get our community of loan officers to share more, to do events where we can learn from each other, where we can contribute to each other, and help us around. I mean, there's business for everybody. I always say there's no competition. The competition is within yourself.
yep. Yeah, there's really not that much competition, especially being a realtor or lender. Like there's not enough people who I would say are high level or at least have the basics down. I don't even think there's enough people with the basics down to have enough competition. And there's so many clients, you know, just in Cali, you guys have what, like 50 to 5,000 realtors, or just some insane amount of realtors. So like it's impossible for one lender to be like, oh yeah, those are all my realtors, you know? It's
Exactly.
impossible.
It's impossible. That's the reason I said there's business for everybody who's willing to do their work. So again, no competition. I never see my colleagues as a competition, because I mean there's business for everybody, and people will connect with me, might not connect with me. So there's the room. So just go for it. Go get the business.
Yeah. And I like that idea that you're doing. It's that I really love the idea of the mastermind. Like I run my own, I run a couple masterminds. So I think it's important that we're always learning from each other and growing, because you never know what someone else knows, and you never know what you don't know. Because a lot of us in our industry, we don't know what we don't know. And that's the part that sucks, because we don't have traditional 4-year college and 10-year job training. It's like, all right, we just got to go learn it.
Right. That is
So
so true. So
that's the big gap.
masterminding is amazing because you get to hear from another perspective. Like if sometimes there's been times that I'm thinking, okay, maybe this launch should be done this way because of ABC. And then I have my Wednesday meetings and my girls will come in and say, like, hey, I'm doing this loan and this is what I'm doing. And then with them, they're asking me a question. I might find the answer for my own loan that I was thinking about how to put it together. So again, just sharing and collaborating can help you, just find ways to get your business and or close that next business that you were not sure about how to do it. So definitely mastermind, it's amazing. And Napoleon Hill says it on his book, the power of the mastermind, you get to share and you get to learn from each other.
Yes, that's right. That's in the which book is that's
Think
Think
and
and
Grow
Grow
Rich.
Rich.
It's
Yeah,
my
Think and Grow Rich.
favorite book, one of my favorite books. I recommend you read it once a year, and you should read it at the beginning of every year. It's so important because it gives you so many pieces. And again, in general for business, not just for our business, but in any business, you can apply those principles into any type of business.
You know, you're not the first person to say that. Like I think everybody says that you should read Think and Grow Rich yearly.
Yes, I've been doing it for the last 5 years, and it has changed. And every time I read it, something pops up. Like, oh, I didn't think of that. Or I didn't. Like what did they said? The teacher will appear when the student is ready. It's so
Mhm.
true. You can read a book today, and then a year from now, you pick the same book, and you'll get something completely different because your mindset is ready to receive that next thing that was on the book that you were not ready when you read it for the first time. So that's the whole reason of me reading that book every year, because I've noticed that every time I read it, something new will pop up, and I'm like, oh, I want to implement that this year.
Yes. And just kind of piggyback off of the concept learning, right? Like I feel like life and growing and learning is it's just a huge game of concept compounding, right? Is constantly we're learning, you know, just a number of concepts at any given time, and we're learning how to apply them so they compound together so that we can grow personally, you know? And that's really all it is. I don't want to call it concept hacking or whatever, but I just heard this, and it was Alex Ramosi who said it. He said the difference between the amateurs and the average, and then the high level people that are making a lot of money is that they can go learn a concept and apply it immediately versus waiting 3, 4, 5 months, you know, because we all at the beginning of the year or when we go to a seminar, it's like, all right, I just learned so many different things, and you're like wanting to go apply everything at once, but like none of them break it down into bite-sized, obtainable goals. It's like, how fast can I shrink the gap between learning the concept and applying it? Because if you can, you're going to be the one that's winning.
Absolutely. And I feel like every event you go to, there's always going to be one takeaway. And like you said, a lot of times we go and we just take tons of notes, but we don't apply anything. So then what do you got? Nothing. So my goal every time I go to an event is what is the one thing that I'm going to take and I'm going to start applying it in my business? Even if it's just one little thing. And then again, go back and apply it and be consistent using that and you'll see results.
I think that the one thing is such a. Did you get that from the book, or is that just something that you have?
No, it's something that I have come to the conclusion. I'm like, okay, there's so many events that we go to, there's so many seminars we attend to, but a lot of times, like I said, we take the notes and they stay in the book and we put it away and we never open the book again, right? So my goal now is every time I go to any event is as soon as I get back, one thing I'm gonna apply from this event, and I start applying it.
That's it. That's the difference right there. That's what makes you super successful, you know. I have so that concept, it comes from the one thing. It's written by Gary Keller.
And I haven't read that book, and somebody recommended, but I will definitely read it.
Yeah. And then I have this on here. So it says until my one thing is done, everything else is abstraction, right? And I think for a lot of realtors, everything else is done first, and then they go try and do their one thing, but by the time they don't have the energy to do it. I think we've seen it in presentations, where they'll have like a cup, and then they'll fill it with big balls, and then they'll fill it with sand,
yes.
whatever. Yeah, a lot of people they focus on the sand first before they do the big items. So, but if you put too much sand in your cup, there's no more room for your big item.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, so what do you think about where the market is heading right now? Do you think we're looking good, or what do you think?
That's a good one, right? I have a crystal ball. Let me see.
The crystal ball? Perfect.
Let me pull it out.
Yeah.
I think we're still gonna see what I hear from our end, which is the lending. The rates are still gonna be where they are. We're definitely gonna see them coming down, but it might not be until next year. Some of them said maybe at the end of this year. I go back to the idea of buy when you're ready. Don't worry too much about what the market is. One of my biggest things that I've always tell my clients is you have no control of the market, you have no control of the rate. So don't worry about the things that you can't control. What is the one thing you can control is your payment. Can you afford the payment? Yes. Buy now. Don't wait.
Yep. I've heard, you're not the first person to say that. I hear another lender say that all the time. It's like, if you can afford the payment, you're good, right? Either way, it's going to come down, and you're gonna be getting the asset. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if I'm like, especially if I'm in Cali, right? I'm thinking if I'm in Cali, which I'm in Vegas, like where else can you go buy a $600,000 home, or let's say a $600,000 asset at 3.5%? Let's say the seller takes care of your closing, and all you're putting is 3.5% down. You're paying your home inspection, maybe appraisal, right? So 3.5% of 600, that's like 18, so like 21,000, right? Let's say you're putting $21,000 and you have a $600,000 asset, and you get to take advantage of appreciation. You get to take advantage of the home appreciating. You get to take advantage of inflation. You get to take advantage of the equity in the home, and all you put down was 3.5%.
There you go.
It's crazy. And even for the veterans, I talked about this in the last one, was veterans. Oh my God. If you are a veteran, your VA is 0% down.
Yes.
And
no mortgage insurance.
No mortgage insurance. And the closing costs can probably get taken care of as well.
By the seller, exactly.
Same scenario, you get a $600,000 home basically for free. You're literally getting an asset for free, right? And then you can go turn around and do it in a couple of years again.
Exactly.
Like nowhere else can you do this, right? It's not like hey, I put 3.5% into this stock and now I get control of $600,000 worth of stocks or crypto or, any of these things.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I truly believe real estate for me, it's done amazing. I mean, I own a few properties. I've always believed that if you put your money in real estate, again, you gave the example earlier about your client, the condo, one something and then 160 some. So there's always going to be appreciation. But if you leave it and just keep it up for the long term, you would always make money regardless whether the market goes up, goes down. You keep it, you would always have money at the end. You would always be making rental income and the appreciation of the property. So definitely real estate, it's where I put all my money. I truly believe in real estate, so that's where I put all my investments.
Yeah, yeah, I believe in it as well. So are you reading any books right now? You read books or what do you got going?
I Yeah, I'm always reading a book. So right now I am in the process of reading. Well, there's two books that I'm reading. I'm gonna tell you because I do Audible nowadays because I
Same.
don't have the time for the books. But I'm right now the one that I'm listening to is Power versus Force.
Oh, that's a great book.
Yes, and I just finished up with the other one. So I read at least 2 to 3 books a month. So that's my thing. I need to be reading books. Otherwise, I've always said if I'm not reading, then what am I doing? And prior
Yeah.
to that, I read The Science of Getting Rich, which was recommended to me, and it was amazing. And obviously, I do have my Think and Go Rich Way to Wealth. So that was the second book by Napoleon Hill. So that was another one that I just finished. So I'm always listening to books. One of the books that I think really helped me a lot is Think and Go Rich for the Business. And the other book it will be How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an amazing book. How to connect with people, relate to people, build rapport, and doing all that good stuff. And I really like a small book that one of my coaches gave me a couple of years ago, The Magic of Believing.
Mm,
Super, super small book, and I read it a few times, and it really helped me a lot with mindset. Believing that you can achieve things, believing that you deserve those things, believing that anything that you want in life you can accomplish. So
yeah.
the magic of believing is something that I recommend all my loan officers to read. It's a very small read, but it's such a powerful book.
That makes me think of Joe Dispenza. It makes me think of because he talks about if you can visualize, meditate on something, right, through the power of belief, right? Visualize yourself already doing it. You're going to be remembering a past self who's already done it. So now your new normal is you being able to do it, right? It's not that it has never happened. Now you've already done it in your head. So now you can hold it in your hand. Now you can literally do it because your cells, he talks about your cells actually morphing and becoming that person already. So the power of belief is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's funny because I have noticed that you put some stuff about Joe Dispenza. Last year I was lucky enough to attend two of his events, and it's life changing. If you ever get an opportunity to be able to attend those events, it's a life changing event. It really dissects the science of why it is works. And again, like you were saying, all this stuff scientifically proven that if you do it, it will happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know we're getting short on time. So last thing I'm going to ask you is what is your first quarter theme or theme for the year or a quote?
Funny thing is, I this year my quote, but last year was gratitude, and I'm very big on gratitude. Definitely, that's the one thing I think you can see it on my post. I'm always talking about being grateful for what you have and being grateful for what you're already, being given, and be grateful what the things are coming your way. So this year for me, it was all about allowing myself and being open to receive, because a lot of times we want things, but we're not allowing it to come to your life. So I'm
Mm,
allowing things to become to myself, to my life, and I'm allowing to be able to open and receive whatever comes my way, whether it's business opportunity, whether it's friendships, whether it's anything that can being open to receive. That's my thing for the year of 2023.
I like that. Being open to receiving it. Because you know what? I think a lot of times we do block our own gifts. That's the governor, right? The governor of your own head. It's hey, hold on, you're not ready to receive that. You're not worthy or whatever it is. So that's an amazing theme or quote for the year. So That's great. So what is it? What are you wanting for this year to become for you? Like what do you want to happen for you this year?
My goal is to build a bigger team, obviously for my office, help more loan officers to believe in themselves, to tap into their potential, because we all have a potential. A lot of times we don't believe that we can accomplish certain things, and that's the reason we don't even try. So my whole goal for this year is how many more people I can help believe in themselves so they can go and accomplish more things and start living the life of their dreams, because we all have dreams, but we get so caught up in the day-to-day things that we forget about our dreams. So my goal is to help more people believe in their dreams, help them achieve those dreams. If there's anything I can do to help, I'm definitely there for them, and just showing them the way, because we already been through this before. I feel like for the market, right? A lot of people reach out to me like, what are we gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I'm like, we've been through this. It's gonna happen if you stay focused, if you stay doing the activities that are gonna get you the results. The market is what the market is. So don't worry about what's going on outside. Control the controllables, work on you. Mindset is so important. Routines are so important. Continue to work on yourself. Be yourself. I always tell them too, be yourself. Don't try to be this other person. Be who you are. People really want to connect with you. People want to do business with Richard. People want to do business with Bertha. So be you. And things will just start coming to you.
It'll just start flowing, right? Yeah, I completely believe in the flow, and if you put it out there, it's gonna come to you. Like you know what? Last thing, forget out here. I talked about this yesterday. I talked about that you can do more in less time if you're intentional.
Very.
You can do so much more. You don't have to work 80 hours a week, 70 hours a week to get the results you want. If you wanted to, and I think that people just don't ask themselves this question, or they're not asked this question. What would it look like, or what would you need to have in place for you to accomplish twice or even three times the amount of results that you look to achieve in half the time? Like what would you need to have in place? What mentors, what accountability, what systems and processes, what do you need to have in place?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to work 10 hours, what if all I had was 10 hours to go make 10 appointments happen? Could I do it? And how would I do it? And I think just starting with the how, like how would I do that? Okay, cool. And then you'll be able to figure it out. But you need to know why you need to do that. If you know your why, then the how will appear. But you got to know why is it important to you? Once you figure out why it's important to you, the how will appear. So, anyways, we will end with that, and I'll see you next time. Okay.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure spending this time with you. Hope to see you soon. We'll see you around.
All right. See you next time. All right.
Bye.